Have you ever asked, pleaded, or even begged God to grant you the desires of your heart, only to find out they were not what you had hoped for? If this sounds familiar, sit back and listen to the remaining message. Also, if you are in a space where you were pleading with God to give you what you're asking for, this message is for you too. So the story is built on a one-liner but profound insight. He gave them their request, but sent leanness into their soul. Psalm 106, verse 15. These words, etched in the ancient poetry of Psalm 106, hold a potent message that transcends time. They speak of a profound truth about human nature. Our desires, if left unchecked, have the power to lead us down a path of destruction, even when they appear to be granted. This verse plunges us into the heart of the Israelites' journey through the wilderness. They had cried out to God, yearning for relief from their hunger, their desperate pleas echoing through the desolate landscape. In His mercy, God responded. He rained down manna from heaven, a miraculous bread that sustained them physically. Yet, this act of divine provision was not without its consequences. The Israelites, consumed by their immediate desires, failed to grasp the deeper implications of their longing. Their hearts, fixated on earthly sustenance, remained tethered to the fleeting pleasures of the flesh. They craved the familiar flavors of Egypt, the onions and garlic that represented a life of slavery but also of perceived abundance. This spiritual amnesia, this forgetfulness of God's deliverance, carried a hefty price. Their souls, malnourished despite the physical nourishment, withered under the weight of their ungratefulness. The Israelites' story serves as a poignant reminder of the allure of immediate gratification. Their desire, though seemingly simple, to satisfy their hunger, masked a deeper longing for security and comfort. Like the Israelites, we often fall prey to the same longing and quest to satisfy our desires. We chase after fleeting pleasures, seeking solace in material possessions, social status, relationships, love, or the approval of others. We fixate on the what of our desires, neglecting the why that lies beneath the surface. We are dead focused on the desire that must be quenched. All we want to think about is how good and right it is for us to grasp and take ownership of it, whatever it is. But what happens when our desires are granted, when the object of our longing is placed within our grasp? Does it bring lasting fulfillment? Or does it leave us feeling empty, sometimes disappointed, hurt, regretful, or yearning for something more? The psalmist's words reveal a profound truth. The fulfillment of our desires does not always equate to the fulfillment of our souls. In granting the Israelites their request, God also allowed them to experience the consequences of their misplaced desires. Their leanness of soul speaks to a state of spiritual emptiness, a void that could not be filled by physical sustenance alone. Their insatiable hunger, their constant craving for more, became a barrier to experiencing true contentment and gratitude. This principle extends far beyond the realm of physical hunger. When we chase after worldly desires without considering their spiritual implications, or not accounting for the will of God, we risk sacrificing our inner peace, jeopardizing the possibility of genuine relationships we were to have, a peaceful pattern of life, and our connection to the divine purpose of God. The futility of worldly pursuits. The book of Ecclesiastes echoes this sentiment. King Solomon, renowned for his wisdom and wealth, embarked on a quest to find meaning in worldly pursuits. He indulged in pleasures, amassed riches, and pursued knowledge with unparalleled zeal. Yet, at the end of his pursuit, he concluded, "Vanity of vanities, all is vanity." Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 2. Solomon's realization underscores the futility of seeking lasting fulfillment in the fleeting pleasures of this world. True fulfillment, he discovered, cannot be found in the external, but in the internal, in aligning our hearts with the divine. What we strive for, seeking fulfillment in the divine. Jesus, in his Sermon on the Mount, offered a radical alternative to the pursuit of worldly desires. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Matthew chapter 5, verse 6. He invites us to shift our focus from the temporal to the eternal, to cultivate a hunger for something far greater than what this world can offer. He calls us to seek fulfillment, not in the fleeting, but in the everlasting. Not in the material, but in the spiritual. This pursuit of righteousness, this yearning for God's presence in our lives, is where true satisfaction resides. It is in aligning our desires with His will that we discover the abundant life He promises. Discerning our desires. The challenge then lies in discerning our desires, in examining the motivations that lie beneath the surface. Are we chasing after fleeting pleasures or seeking lasting fulfillment? Are we driven by greed, envy, competition, and expectation? Or the need for approval? Or are we motivated by the desire to live that is indeed the will of God, according to His divine purpose, and a desire to live a fulfilled life? The Apostle Paul, in his letter to the Philippians, encourages us to meditate on these things, to focus our minds on whatever is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, admirable, excellent, or praiseworthy. Philippians chapter 4 verse 8. What do we see when our desires outshine reality? The Israelites, in their hunger, mistook manna for the ultimate source of sustenance. They failed to recognize that it was merely a symbol, a pointer to the true bread of life, Jesus Christ. I am the bread of life, Jesus declared. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry again, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty again. John chapter 6 verse 35. He offers us nourishment that transcends the physical, a sustenance that satisfies the deepest longings of our souls. In Him, we find the fulfillment, the purpose, and the love that we crave. Let us, therefore, approach our desires with wisdom and discernment, seeking fulfillment, not in the fleeting pleasures of this world, but in the everlasting embrace of our Creator. For it is in Him and Him alone that our souls find true rest. Remember this: God could answer your prayers and pleadings in one of two ways. The one way may be that He will give you the desires of your heart, and in the end, you may realize that it's not all you had dreamed of or desperately longed for. Oh, the disappointment! The second way may be that He could say no, or not give in to your persistent pleadings. Will you take no for an answer, or would you want to take the chance for a seemingly temporal joy and deal with lasting heartbreak and disappointment? Because what you pleaded for did not turn out to be what you had hoped for. Save yourself from an inevitable disappointment, heartbreak, and even anger toward God. When you pray or ask God for the desires of your heart, always ask for what is within His will, because His will is perfect, and God's will never be defeated. I hope you will take this message to heart and yield to God's will, because He is the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end of all things. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Lean on Him and not your understanding." Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and join the family. And God bless.